It's a beautiful good morning, and it's a Saturday, I wouldn't say a cool one, but a cool Saturday that we have. And we are here to give you nothing but the best in terms of sports. I'm your host, Amos, aka Amore, and this is Off the Pitch, the show that comes your way every Saturday. That's at 9:30 hours. I'm not alone on set. As usual, I'm joined by one Augustine. Augustine, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amos. It's always a pleasure to be here. We return all the glory and honor to the Most High God, and good morning to the viewers out there for tuning in this morning to watch this show, and congratulations to Manchester City. They are the world champions when it comes to clubs.
They're doing fine.
They beat Fluminense by 4 goals to 0 yesterday with Julian Alvarez scoring a brace and Phil Foden getting one of those goals. I think it's been a very, very big achievement for City. If you look at where they were a couple of years ago under Stuart Pearce, they were a team that were languishing closer to the relegation. But ever since the City group took over, Sheikh Mansour being the head of it, and you could see the tremendous progress that they've made. They've brought in the right people in the football club. I think the last piece was bringing in Pep Guardiola to try and take this club to where it is right now, and a lot of credit must be given to City what they've done, and oil money is working.
A tremendous victory it was, Augustine, and one trophy added to Guardiola's cabinet, I would say. But let's not forget our very own Rachel Kundananji, Augustine, who managed to win the Go 50 award, being the first African female to win it.
Yeah, it was very, very huge. You could see that there is recognition out there. Rachel Kundananji's season that he had with Madrid hasn't gone unnoticed, and credit must be given to Rachel Kundananji for being very, very consistent through the season. She's played very, very good football, and congratulations to Rachel Kundananji for scooping the Go Award Female Player of the Year alongside the men's Lionel Messi, who won the award. I think you could see that this is very, very huge. If you look at the Ballon d'Or, it was Lionel Messi and Aitan Bonmati. So I think you are now closer to that conversation as Rachel Kundananji. It was a surprise that she was omitted from the 3 who are nominated as African Best Footballer of the Year. I think, truth be told, if we have to be realistic, even Barbara Banda shouldn't have made that shortlist ahead of Kundananji. Yeah, we had Tembe Katlani who also made that list. But I think Tembe Katlani, during the course of the week, she made a very, very big money move going into Mexico. And congratulations to her as well. We want to see the women's game grow to a level where we will celebrate our very own, doing it at the highest level. I think Asisat Oshawala has been doing very well for Nigeria and Barcelona. Now we have got Rachel Kundananji playing in the same league with the likes of Aitan Bonmati, the Ballon d'Or winner, Asisat Oshawala, Hamoso. I think she's surrounded by greatness, and she's managing to be very, very consistent and produce the goods week in, week out for a very, very good Madrid team.
Anyway, a lot of exciting news that has come this week. We've seen Ghana. Hopefully that's where they'll fix things, or maybe that's where it happened that they'll fix things. But right about now, we'll just take a very short break and we'll be right back.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point of sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
We've spoken it here, or we've had a say most of the times to say, are these ex-co members the ones that are contributing to some of these clubs not performing up to par? And the case study mostly has always been Ghana, and it's sad that Ango Rapson is not here. He would have given his own view, but I'm sure if he's somewhere watching, he would definitely call in. But Augustine, I think we've spoken about how Ghana has struggled, how the biggest club that we have has been struggling and being in the relegation zone. We've seen them parting ways with one based on championship and bringing in Ian Bakara, but the problems are still there.
Yeah, I think you could see that the problems for Ghana Football Club didn't start just this season. It's something that has been growing but probably has been overlooked. But now it has reached a stage where decisions have to be made, and Mopani have acted, and they've dissolved the Ghana executive. They have to bring in people that will now have the vision for the football club, people that have got the heart and love for football. Because if you look at Ghana, they've been all over the place in the last 5 years or so, because they've been closer to the bottom than the top. And you see what's happening on the other side with their closest rivals in Power Dynamos going on to win the Super League title, and now they're probably again in the conversation of probably making continental football or challenging again for the title, while Ghana is languishing in that relegation zone. You look at decisions like players like Kelvin Kambamba Muanga being let go to Zesco United.
Your rivals, in fact.
You could see that in the sense that the incomings and outgoings at Ghana, it has always been poor. They lost one of their best defenders last season in Derek Makumbuzi on a free. I think there are a lot of areas where you could wonder, why is the club running in this direction? You look at the signings that they've made in the last 5 years. I think they have been pretty much average. They got Kamosoko. He hasn't been very well done anything from Ghana. They went and got Donashano Malama again from Zesco United. What is Donashano Malama going to give you in the long term going as a football club? You get Lamek Kafwaya, who's being released at Power Dynamos. So you could see there are a lot of decisions that have been made at Ghana that have always left you wondering. You look at the last 3 or 4 transfer window, the best that they could have made was bringing in David Kavala, who saved them from the jaws of relegation again last season when Beston Jambesh was at the helm. You thought that Ghana learned something from that and they were going to recruit better going into this season, but they did exactly the opposite. They are bringing in Dominic Clement Mwapesori, who was struggled at Zesco United for game time. He's moved to Ghana Football Club. You look at areas where you would have thought they were going to go and get an out striker. They failed to do that. They do not have a proper midfield. Their midfield is always overrun, and the people that overseen that they are failing to recruit properly. I think what they need to do now in Ghana is just restructuring the club, have departments that will be responsible for various things. I think in Zambia we've always overlooked recruitment. It plays a very key role in football. You just do not recruit talent, you recruit character as well. You bring in the right character in the dressing room to try and help the club going forward. You remember a couple of years ago. I think was it 2014 was Zesco United qualified for the CAF Champions League and went all the way up to the semi-finals. You look at the way they were recruiting that time. They went and got Ario Oluwafemi from Nigeria, very, very good character, a winner in his own regard. They went and got David Owino Odiambo. He was a Kenya international at that time. Anthony Akuma Gay, Jesse Jackson Were. Locally, they went for the very, very best, the finest, Cletus Chamachota, Raza Skambole, Matthews Nkwan. They built a team which was very, very difficult to play against. I think it had character. You need to recruit in that manner now, but you could see that the recruitment at Ghana has been all over the place. I think there has to be a group, a department that's in charge of recruitment. You have to have scouts who scout talent and bring into the football club. And if you look at Ghana, they have been struggling financially. This is something that we cannot run away from. So now, what do we do? Since we cannot go out there and spend big monies, you need to have very, very good scouts that will go into these tough areas where to try and scout for young talent and bring to the big table. We've seen, I think it has worked very well for teams like FC Moza. They do not spend big, but they went and recruit very well. Mutondo, likewise, they are recruiting very well. They're bringing young talent who are hungry for success and are bringing them to the football club, and they're performing. And you look at Ghana, when last did we see a young player come from the youth structures and come and make
just hearing do they even have a proper structure of this?
I think they've produced good players, but it has stopped working in the last 3 years. The last player probably they could have produced from the youth ranks was Patrick Gondo, who came and passed onto the scene very well. They had Moses Nyondo, Harrison Chisala. They can brag about a lot of players that have come through the system. But what is happening is now that's when you need your youth system very much to try and help you sustain your status in the Premier League, because it's, as things look now, it looks like probably Ghana are in big danger of getting relegated, and when they get relegated, it will be difficult for them to come back because we've seen a lot of teams go down there and struggle to come back, and they have to learn from their past experience. You remember it took a boardroom decision a couple of years ago to strip off points from Young Green Eagles so that Ghana can survive. I think there are a lot of indicators that have been there which could have been alarming for this Ghana team, but they haven't done that. The executive, they've run their race. Now they need someone new with fresh ideas to take this club forward, because Ghana are a giant of Zambian football, and you could see the passion which the fans have, the effort which the fans have. If the players and exco and coaches can replicate that, Ghana can be unbeaten the entire season.
And these problems, Augustine, like you've said, it had to take a boardroom decision for them to survive, meaning problems have been there. And looking at the restructuring that they want to do, if you've noticed, or maybe if you read the later, they've even dissolved all the subcommittees, including the match organizing committee and the security wing. So meaning problems were a lot. Yeah,
I think it's clear that problems in Ghana have been huge. One factor is that they were moved from Copperbelt to Tran. They started playing games here in Lusaka. I think that's on it.
And you heard what someone said before we started the show, Isaac.
Yeah, that on its own is a big problem. You could see that security-wise, probably they are not doing enough. And these other subcommittees that do play a role in building this club haven't done that much. I think Ghana fans, they are the most passionate in this country. If they can just have at least a big say on what's happening at the football club, that would be very good going forward. I think recruitment-wise has been one of their biggest problem, and decision-making, like getting rid of a coach 3 games into the season, I think that was awful.
Let's just pick this call, Augustine, if we can. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, this is Nathan calling from Eastern Province in Katete.
Mr. J, how are you?
Very okay, and how are you?
We are
fine.
Okay, enjoying the show. You started accurate on time today.
Thank you.
Yes.
You can go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, I will propose that next week you bring someone from Ghana to come and answer certain questions. Otherwise, it's worrying what is taking place there. Yes, they are playing some good football, but the results are not coming forward.
Yeah.
We might need to hear from the horse's mouth what really is going on there.
Yeah.
Because you see, we cannot talk about Zambian football if Ghana is excluded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is a serious worry, and I will propose as such.
No, we will do our level best to organize someone from there, so that at least if we can just have them even on Zoom, we will try and do our level best, so that at least they get to answer certain questions on what's happening with the club.
Would be grateful, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. J. Tembo. Always positive contribution.
Yeah. And imagine, Augustine, having games that will be played tomorrow, and if we've noticed, there are some slots that are still remaining that's qualifying in the APSA Cup, and there's no Ghana to talk about. Like, there's no Ghana to talk about near the APSA qualifications.
Yeah, I think even the last APSA Cup, Ghana didn't qualify. The last time they qualified was way back in 2022, and they were eliminated by NAPSA Stars on post-match penalties at Woodland Stadium. So you could see that the struggle has always been there. We have had players taking Ghana to court. We remember a couple of years ago the guy from Ghana who had issues of finance with Ghana. I think what we need to see going forward is in Ghana that is going to be dominant in Zambian football. I think we do need Ghana to be up there in terms of Zambian football for us, for our football to grow, because Ghana is one of the teams that's known not just here in Zambia but across the continent, and we wouldn't want to see them become a sleeping giant like we've seen in Nigeria. Kano Pillars, very, very disappointing. Enyimba, very, very disappointing. They have really falling under the pecking orders, and we wouldn't want to see that happen with Ghana.
Anyway, it's in Ghana that is hopefully to revamp itself, having played 16 games with only 13 points, and they will be facing a Zanaco that has been of hot, like blowing hot air of late. But hopefully, Augustine, looking at the new EXCO, or maybe the interim as we would put it, are we going to see a different Ghana? Because that change, a lot of people would expect to see it today.
It's a gamble. It's a gamble. If you look at where we are going into week 17. As it stands, Ghana will finish the first half of the season in the relegation zone, so they've got 17 games to save themselves. So you could see that they really need to act quickly. I think it has come at the right time to try and plan for the coming transfer window. The January window will be opening on the 1st of January up until the 31st of February. Decisions will need to be made between now and up to the close of the transfer window. What will happen between now and the end of February, the current transfer window, will determine where Ghana will be come the end of the season. Are they going to back Ian Bakala in the transfer market? Do they have the resources? I think these are questions that probably Mr. J. Tembo wanted the Ghana EXCO to come and answer, because it's very, very difficult to try and pinpoint where Ghana will resurrect from. They'll need to try and find the goal scorer. They need to find a defender that will try and keep goals from going in. There is rumor that they have been linked with FC Moza goalkeeper Mongandala. Will they manage to get Mongandala from Ghana?
Follow him away from there.
There are a lot of questions surrounding Ghana Football Club, and it's good that Mopani have made the decision now for them to try and have time to rectify the errors that have been done in the first half and in the previous years.
Anyway, we hope all the best for Ghana, and they'll be facing Zanaco, that's today, which is a tough game for them, but hopefully they'll produce a result that a lot of fans would want to see, or maybe would want to see Ghana performing to their level best. And let's not forget, Augustine, we saw the APSA is getting hot and hot. The only team that had qualified so far, that's in the Zambian League, or maybe the MTN Super League, was Zesco. That was confirmed so far, and we saw Red Arrows booking a slot yesterday by beating Tondo Stars by 3-1. 4 slots remaining, Augustine, now. Yeah,
so if you look at the Zambian football setup, we had Nchanga Rangers, who are probably one of the very first to confirm their participation in the APSA Cup. They've been doing very well in the National League, and Robert Mwanza, you could see that he's gone to Nchanga Rangers, and he's brought that feel good factor again. I think the EXCO made him. They fired him and then brought in Agre Chiange, who failed to Sinkana and Changa Rangers stay up. But this time around, they are back in the APSA Cup. Angie Oluwamba playing very well for them, and Victor Chabu, he's in goal, and he's been very, very decent for this Changa Rangers team, who lost Emmanuel Chavala to Zesco United, and it was always going to be difficult to replace your big centre back, your big asset in the football club. But they've gone in the National League, they've stamped their authority, they've shown that they are a Super League team, and they need to try and come in the APSA Cup and perform. In the National League, we still have one slot to be decided. Yeah. It's either it's either Lumana Radiants or Young Atletico Lusaka. Atletico Lusaka last weekend, they did beat Aguida by 5-2 to get ever closer to making history by qualifying for the APSA Cup. And this weekend, they're coming up against Zesco Malaiti, who have had the rough start to.
They've deteriorated this season.
I think you could see that it wasn't working for Zesco United. Zesco Malaiti, they've made changes. They've brought in Enoch Sakala. He started with a draw and won a couple of games. He's picked up 7 points from the last 9. So it's going to be difficult for Atletico Lusaka. But this game will be played at Sunset Stadium. Atletico love to play carpet football. They will try and make it difficult for Zesco Malaiti to try and qualify for the APSA Cup. If you look at in the Super League, Zesco United have confirmed their participation for 2024 APSA Cup. Then Red Arrows confirmed yesterday with a victory over Mutondo. Nkwazi are also one of the teams that will surely participate in the APSA Cup because the fact is that there are only 4 teams behind Nkwazi that can qualify for APSA Cup, which is FC Muza, Green Eagles, Power Dynamos, and Karo Warriors. For Zanaco and Forest Rangers, it will take a huge swing. It has got different permutations.
It's a calculated thing.
For Zanaco and Forest to qualify for the APSA Cup, they will need Power Dynamos to lose against Napsa Stars, and then they will need Car Warriors to be beaten by FC Muza, and then win by huge scorelines to qualify and go difference. I think you could see that it's very difficult for the holders. Forest Rangers, I think we can safely say they won't be participating in the APSA Cup next season, and Zanaco likewise. But if you look at FC Muza and Car Warriors, meaning these two teams are playing each other, not both two of them will reprog Nkwazi. That means Nkwazi have confirmed their participation in next season's APSA Cup. I think credit must be given to also at Mutapa what is done at Nkwazi. He's brought in young players with lots of energy and desire, and he's pushed them this far. Muza going to Car Warriors, they won their last season by 2-1. It was going to be one of the most interesting games this weekend because it has got the APSA a slot added to the
not only the 3 points that are
and
there.
Power Dynamos, all they need to do probably against Napsa Stars is just avoid defeat, and probably they will seal their APSA Cup slot for next season, which we do not know if we are going to go with the 8, because there is rumor going around that probably the APSA Cup might be increased to 16 teams. It started with 16 teams, then we lowered it to 8, but now there is talk that probably the stakeholders are meeting to try and find a way forward and maybe increase the teams back to 16 and allow provincial teams to also join in the APSA Cup.
Which would make sense at the end of the day, because we always talk of developmental football, Augustine, but maybe this would come as one of those pushers. But looking at the teams that are remaining, Augustine, you've said it clearly to say there are teams like Forest Rangers who need miracles. But let's look at your prediction in terms of the games and the teams that are supposed to play today and tomorrow. Who do you feel will make it?
I think Green Eagles facing Nkwazi. Green Eagles, they will make it to the APSA Cup. They have been in good form recently, and Alex Namazawa, a coach who we heavily criticized a couple of months ago because it wasn't working for Green Eagles. But you could see that he's turned the tables around, and if he can seal this APSA Cup slot, I think it will be very, very huge for them. Car Warriors against Muza, straight shootout for the APSA slot. Probably Musa do edge it a little bit because a draw is good for them. And Kara Warriors, they haven't been scoring a lot of goals of late, but they went and beat Ghana at their own backyard, which was a huge victory. Probably they will want to get one over FC Musa and Power Dynamos. They're coming up against NAPSA. NAPSA have been struggling this season, and you do not know what to expect under Perry Mutapa. He's a master tactician. He can go there and make it very, very difficult
for them,
for his former employers and see them bow out of the Absa. But I do fancy Power Dynamos. Probably I'll go with Musa, Power Dynamos, and Green Eagles to join Red Arrows, Nkwazi, Zesco United, Changa Rangers, and probably Atletico Lusaka from the National League.
That's Augustine's prediction, and hopefully now. Just a quick one, Augustine. Like, since it's not yet confirmed, so what happens if it gets confirmed? Meaning there will be a lot of reshuffles in terms of how the games will be put in, or maybe they'll still follow the past way we used to do it when they confirm the 16 teams.
Probably, if they confirm the 16 teams, the Super League will get a huge share. It will probably go to 8 teams and then have 4 from the National League and then 4 from the provincial, which will be one of the log leaders. That's how they will share the slots. But that's how we say they are in discussions to try and see how they will restructure the Absa Cup going forward.
So it's something that maybe we are looking forward to, because we've always been talking about like having these teams that are in the lower division to at least boost them in terms of these tournaments, because I know there are a lot of lower division teams that would say which at least gives some good money for maybe developing. But it's not just only those games. These games that we've spoken of are just games that are consisting of those that have a high chance of qualifying to the Absa Cup. But just a quick one, Augustine, maybe we'll start with yesterday's game. Red Arrows first going down by a goal and then managing to get back and win it by 3-0.
Yeah, they are coming up against the evergreen Mutondo Stars. Mutondo have been brilliant this season from the lower league. I think I covered them a lot last season. They play very, very good football. They have got 2 tricky wingers in Osmond Chita and Titus Chansa. Titus Chansa was their top scorer from the National League. He scored about 8 goals last season. And coming to the Super League, you would always feel probably it's going to be very, very difficult for the young boys, but Zed Saileti, I think credit to him and the executive at Mutondo. They kept faith in these young boys, and they've brought in energy in the Super League. They play with very, very high tempo. They are very, very athletic. And yesterday, coming to Nkoloma Stadium, they had an outside chance of qualifying for the Absa Cup. I think Mutondo were boosted by the fact that they did beat Sensational Zanaco in the previous fixture at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium with Dalis Olungu scoring that all-important goal to see Mutondo see all 3 points against the Bankers. And coming into the game against Red Arrows, they did fancy their chances, because Red Arrows were coming from a defeat against Green Eagles at their own backyard at Nkoloma Stadium, and they started very, very well. They were very brave. They got on the ball very, very good, and scored through Chisha Kampamba, the young brother to Ronald Sate Kampamba. It was a brilliant worked team move. They moved the ball very well, switched play, and then caught Red Arrows napping. But immediately you could see that they played good football. Mutondo, they can pass the ball around, they press teams. But now, as the game was getting closer to halftime, you could see that Mutondo's energy was, their tank was running low. So, and Red Arrows being an experienced side, they started picking those little pockets. And one thing that I observed from this Mutondo team is that they do press high up the field, but immediately you beat their first press, they become very, very vulnerable. Red Arrows had a couple of opportunities to run in behind their back four. I think they do isolate, they do expose very much their 2 center backs. They need to try and rectify that going into the second round, Mutondo. But I think they do play good football, very, very good for the eye, with their young goalkeeper Gwezani Banda, who made a couple of saves from Aking Mumba before he conceded from Yusuf Saddam shot, which was very, very difficult to save on the near post. And Red Arrows from there, they grew in the game. Ricky Banda made sure that they went to halftime in the lead, which changed the dimensions and changed the entire team talks for both Zetsaleti and Chisimbewe. In the second half, you could see that Red Arrows had more control on the game. They wanted to kill it off, and Mudondo had nothing to offer, especially from the bench. The substitutions that they made, they didn't have any impact on the game. On the opposite side, Red Arrows, I think they have got strength and depth. They brought in quality. I think Sio Ibengo is one of them. The young Anthony from City of Lusaka and George Chaloba, you could see that immediately when they came into the field of play, they pushed Mutondo and forced them to try and defend even more deeper. And they find the openings and score through Anthony in the 80th minute to seal the deal and seal their slot in the Absa Cup. And Coach Chisimbewe was very, very proud of these boys' performance, how they responded from going a goal down and getting that victory against a very, very stubborn evergreen Mutondo Stars.
Today we've got an early kickoff, Augustine, that will see Green Buffaloes hosting Trident FC, and then we will have Green Eagles hosting Nkwazi. Another game, an early kickoff, Green Buffaloes hosting Trident.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if this game was to end in a draw, because Trident are the draw specialists in the Zambian Super League. The only team so far without a victory. They've picked up 10 draws this season and have lost 6 games. So they are the draw masters, and I wouldn't be surprised if they come to Sunset and frustrate GBFC. GBFC, I think it's difficult to try and predict which Green Buffalo side will turn up.
Yeah.
They've struggled this season. You thought that after the season they had last season when Masasotembo took over, they were going to kick on from there and go forward. But one of the players that have been very impressive for Green Eagles has been Andrew Mpande. That's why he's been selected by Avram Grants. He's very, very good in central midfield. He works very hard for the team, dictates the tempo of the game, but they need goals going forward. That's where they have struggled a lot. I think George Ngoma scored a lot of goals last season, but this time around it's very, very difficult for them. The pressure on the young Gordon Mashata, it's probably being too much. He needs a little bit of help from players like Milanzi. They've brought in young Charles Majaba from Atletico. It hasn't clicked for GBFC this season. They have been conceding a lot of goals left, right, and center. Their goalkeeping position hasn't helped them that much.
Was going to be on Francis.
It's always Francis and Kasongo, but there are a lot of errors between the two goalkeepers. They've conceded a lot of goals. GBFC, they need to try and shut that back door for them to try and play probably on a front foot and a little bit aggressive and force the opponents. But this time around, I give it to GBFC, slight victory.
Though it might be a draw.
Yeah, it might be.
The draw specialist. Anyway, we've spoken of the Green Eagles Nkwazi game, Augustine. Let's look at the Konkola Blades versus Prison Leopards game. That will be played at 15 hours today. Low
scoring affair in Konkola, in Chidabombo, we expect, because Konkola Blades they are above the relegation zone. They are above Nkana. Yeah, above Ghana, the team which is managed by Best on Championship, above Ghana. So you could see that Konkola Blades this season, they've struggled in front of goal. They've only scored 8 goals. They're the lowest scorers in the Super League, and it's very, very disappointing for teams in the Super League. You have played 16 games and you've only scored 8 goals. It's very, very disappointing. They've been poor in front of goal, but playing in Chidabombo, that's where they've made it fortress. They've made it very, very difficult for teams that have traveled there. You've seen they got a very huge draw against Red Arrows. They got a draw against Forest Rangers. Those are big boys, but they managed to get those draws. I think players like Fred Shutrashimenga, new signing, he needs to step up and start producing the goals. They've got Victor Mwanga, scored a lot of goals last season in the National League, but this level is a step high. He needs to try and be more prolific in front of goal, together with his brother who was at Kansanshi Dynamos. He's gone back to Konkola Blades, and probably Beston Chambishi will get the best out of his attacking players, because we have always known Beston Chambishi to be a very, very attack-minded coach, and his team have always scored a lot of goals. And on the other side, Prison Leopards, they are yet to understand what Lamek Banda demands of them. I think it's early stages for Lamek Banda, but he will get it right. You could see what he went to do at Lumana Radiance. The team started playing some good, attractive football. He's bringing that to this Prison Leopard side, we've got David Obashi, who's scoring goals, which gives them a lot of confidence, a platform to build on. They can build the team around David Obashi. I think he's been a success at Prison Leopards before. Now what they need to do is that they need to try and be more solid defensively, to try and frustrate teams. They have been very, very easy to play against Prison Leopards. Zephaniah Piri, you see him being played as a right back, probably right wing and central midfield. He's their best player by far, and their most prized asset, but he's on loan from Red Arrows.
Who are you giving it to, Augustine?
I think probably a draw in this one. It's one of those games that will be very, very cagey. If we see goals, probably we'll see 2.
Zesco United hosting Mufulira Wanderers.
One of the bad travelers this season has been Mighty Mufulira Wanderers. They've struggled away from Shinde to collect maximum points, and I do not see them going to Levi Mwanawasa Stadium and getting all 3 points with a Zesco United team that's bubbling with confidence.
Enoch Junior scoring goals like...
Yeah, I think he's in good form. He's enjoying this purple patch. What you get from Zesco United is they have got a chance to level what Power Dynamos did last season. Going into the second half of the season, Power Dynamos finished on 35 points. And if Zesco United manage to beat Mighty Mufulira Wanderers this afternoon, they'll equal that record. They'll go to 35 points, which will give them an advantage going into the second round. We've seen in the past 3 seasons, the team that has been top halfway through the season has gone on to win the league title. And as George Lwandamina has built this squad, and Kelvin Kampamba Muanga, he's firing on all cylinders. He's one of the best players in the Super League. And the good side of things is that Kelvin Kapumbu is back, and he's going to provide that cover and shield of that Zesco United defense. Mighty Mufulira Wanderers, they were pretty much poor against Power Dynamos. They created a lot of chances, but they ended up losing by 3-1. So you could see that offensively, they need to try and get it right. Clive Bieta scored a lot of goals in the National League, made history by becoming the first player to score 20 goals in the National League. But in the Super League, he has found it very, very hard. They went and signed Hope Katushi from Red Arrows. He scored 1 goal ever since he moved there. They've brought Trezor Irunga. At least he chips in with a lot of goals. They need to try and start winning games away from more Mighty Mufulira Wanderers, but I do not think they will be in trouble when it comes to teams that will be relegated. I feel their former Shinde is going to save them this season.
Another game, Augustine, we spoke about it earlier, Zanaco hosting Ghana, something that I know maybe the stadium will be packed.
Yeah, in Ghana, one of the most watched and supported teams in the land are coming to play Zanaco. And again, if you look at what we had last season going into as of week 17, Ghana can draw confidence that 2 teams who are in the relegation zone last season, as of week 17, in Nkwazi and Kawa Warriors, they managed to survive relegation. Probably Ghana might be having...
They're drawing some confidence from that.
They should draw some confidence from that, because Kawa Warriors and Nkwazi were in a similar position last season and managed to survive relegation. The 4 that were in the relegation zone at this point, only 2 got relegated and 2 survived. And if you look at the teams that are in the relegation zone now, we do fancy that probably Ghana will surely climb up the table and survive relegation, but you find it very, very difficult for teams like Trident. Where are they going to get that boost to survive relegation? But 17 games are a lot. We have got 17 games that are coming up, and what has been done is that after 17 games, we usually go on a break, which will be like 2 or 3 weeks before we resume the second round. But this time around, we are not going to go on a break. Next weekend, we'll be playing week 18, second round, up until the kickoff of the Africa Cup of Nations. That's when we'll go on a break until the end of the Africa Cup of Nations. I think this has been very, very good strategy by the Football Association and the league manager to try and go up until the Africa Cup of Nations, so that we do not disadvantage teams that have, because there are teams like Musa, they've got their talisman in Andrew Piri. He might make the cut and go to the Africa Cup of Nations. Benedict Chepeshi for Red Arrows. Zesco United have got Kelvin Kampamba, Kelvin Kampumbu.
Yeah, key players.
These are very, very key players, and you do not want to have a title race where the other team has lost their key players, and we do not want to crash our league with the biggest showpiece in the continent. I think it's going to be a disservice to football, because we will now start to divide fans. So what we want to do is that what they've decided to do is that the Africa Cup just be played alone, so that everyone can focus on the Africa Cup, can rally behind the Copa Bullets, and then after the Africa Cup is done, we'll resume our league.
And that's a big decision and something that would be of benefit, because truth be told, there are a lot of teams that go, like we've seen, especially in these other leagues, that's in the European leagues. These lower teams pick up their pace when they are just these tournaments that are organized, and these big teams maybe lose some big names. But anyway, those are some of the local games that are being played. And maybe before we take a look at the European games, tomorrow, Augustine Sunday, the 24th, we've got Kansanshi Dynamos that will be hosting Forest Rangers, and Kawe Warriors that will be hosting FC Muza. And I know we've spoken of these games already, but for now we'll just take that short break as we get back and look at some of the European leagues.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
It's time! Camnet TV brings to you an exciting kid show called My Creation. Join me, Sarah Chandamagazagia, to interact with kids with special skills and talents between the age range of 9 to 17. This show will come to you every Saturday at 13:30 on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Some of the games that will be played today, that's in the Italian Serie A. And before we talk of the Italian Serie A, we know that our very own Lamek Banda has been of very, very, very good form of late. And at 13:30, we've got Frosinone who will be hosting Juventus. And at 16 hours, we've got Bologna who will be hosting Atalanta. 16 hours again, Torino hosting Udinese. And 19, Verona hosting Cagliari, Inter hosting Lecce. And at 21:40, we have Roma hosting Napoli. Juventus, Augustine, they are starting to revamp.
Yeah, I think Juventus, they played awful last season, and Allegri, but what he's done this season is that he's brought that feel-good factor back to the Torino Stadium. You could see that Juventus are very, very hard to beat. Games involving Juventus are very, very low scoring this season. They've won a lot of games with a one goal lead this season. I think what does that tell you is that this team always focused. Because when it's 1-0, you need to be at your very best for you to see out the result. I think one of the most interesting games was when they went and played Monza. They were leading by 1-0 and they were pegged back in additional time. Monza scored, but Juventus found their extra energy to go and score the winner. Coming up against Frosinone, who have been struggling this season, I do not think Juventus will struggle. I think Dusan Vlahovic is enjoying great form again this season, together with Federico Chiesa. Ever since I think they started pairing Dusan Vlahovic and Federico Chiesa,
it's a different ballgame.
It looks very, very different for Juventus, and they've been getting the much needed points. A win today will get them 1 point behind Inter Milan before they go on a Christmas break. And Inter Milan facing a Lecce side, a very, very unpredictable Lecce. They do love to try and make it difficult for the big boys, especially playing away from home. They soak up the pressure and then hit you on a counter. It's going to be difficult for Inter Milan, but I feel they have got enough in their tank. They have got the dead duo in Europe. If you look at Lautaro Martinez and Thuram, that's the perfect combination. And if these two, it doesn't work out, they have got Arnautovic coming from the bench to try and change the dimension. I think their best player this season has been Barella. I think a lot of he doesn't get the credit he deserves. Nico Barella, I think he works very hard for Inter Milan. He's very, very neat in possession. He makes things happen together with Hakim Çalhanoğlu in central midfield, and their defensive partnership of Acerbi, one of the best defenders in Europe, someone who is about like fine wine. He gets better with age. You could see that Acerbi has formed that Inter Milan defense. It looks very, very solid. Inzaghi, he's looking to his fullbacks, Virgil Dumfries and Dimarco, try and provide them the width. And if you look at the champions, Napoli, they've been very, very poor. A team which won the Serie A with games to spare. He's struggling this season. I think they scraped past Cagliari in the previous fixture. Very, very good goals by Kavicha, Kvaratskhelia and Victor Osimhen. I think the biggest problem is that Napoli have failed to get their best players clicking this season. One of them has been Victor Osimhen. He struggled with injuries. Form hasn't been very, very great. Kavicha, Kvaratskhelia, likewise, he was one of the most creative players, not just in Serie A, but in Europe. But it's not happening for them this season. Piotr Zielinski in central midfield and Zambo Anguissa, this partnership caused a lot of problems last season, but they are failing to make it happen. I think the problem was when Javier Gracia was given this job, he tried to change a lot of things in a short space. I think that was the biggest problem. He wanted to drop one of their second choice striker in Giacomo Raspadori to start playing in midfield, which didn't sit well with the Napoli fans. But now they've sacked Gracia, they've brought in Walter Mazzarri. It was his first home win at the Maradona Stadium. He had won away from home, but at home he was losing. But he managed to beat Cagliari by 2-1 and then went into the cup and got beat 4-0 by Frosinone. So you could see that it's just not consistent for Napoli, and they'll be facing Barcelona in February, two teams that are struggling.
When you go to the Spanish League, Augustine, we only have got one game today. That's Atletico Madrid hosting Sevilla. And we've seen how Girona, Augustine, has been of dominance. And we saw the celebration that Madrid had when they managed to beat Alaves. That's in the dying minutes of the game. But this game, Atletico Madrid hosting Sevilla, a Sevilla that has been neither here nor there this season. Yeah,
I think Sevilla, they've changed managers. This is their third manager this season. So you could see that this is a team which has got a lot of issues which they'll need to try and rectify now. They've made a lot of managerial changes in a short space of time. They've brought in Sergio Ramos to try and solidify that defense, but it's not working out. Ivan Rakitic I think he's running out of steam. You could see he's being passed around too easily in central midfield, and you look at their goal scorers in El Naziri, he's not getting them the goals. I think people will not talk about it, but the biggest mistake they made in the transfer market was to let Yassine Bono leave. Yes, the club was struggling in terms of finances, but you could see that there are a lot of goalkeeping howlers that have been made from the time Yassine Bono left this Sevilla team, and now they are going to play away at the Wanda Metropolitano. Atletico, they played Getafe in midweek, and they played to a 2-2 draw. They could have lost that game easily. I think Mason Greenwood was a joy to watch. He frustrated the Atletico defense. They played with 10 men for large parts of that game after Savic was shown a red card. But they've got a chance now to try and reflog Barcelona and go third in the La Liga table behind Girona and Real Madrid. And the Girona story, I think it has been very much it's what football is made of, the fantasy. We love the fairy tale story, and Girona, you could see that they are playing very, very good football with young Savio. I think this is a player which a lot of people should watch out he's a top talent, Savio. He plays at the left as a left back, but he attacks the space very, very well. And now you could see that Michu, the Girona coach, he's slowly but surely transforming him from being a fullback into a winger, and he's doing very well for Girona. They went to Barcelona, making history, winning at the home, just beating Barcelona for the first time in the club history. And I think the icing on the cake in that game is that their veteran striker in Stuani managed to find the back of the net and see Girona beat Barcelona 4-2. But unfortunately, they went to Benito Villamarin to play Real Betis. They were beaten they drew by 1-1. I think it was another late strike in that encounter. Girona took the lead, but they couldn't hold on to the lead, and Madrid finished the first round on top of La Liga, which a lot of people didn't think it would happen, because Atletico looked like they were going to be the side that were going to push for this La Liga title. But Diego Simeone's men have dropped a lot of points in the past few weeks. Girona, likewise, they dropped that 2 points away at the Benito Villamarin. But Madrid, I think they worked very, very hard away from home at Alaves. You could see the problem Samu was causing them in that game. Here, it caused Nacho to be sent off, and late at the death, it was a late winner, which proved Madrid will finish the first half on top.
They celebrated it like no one's business.
Yeah, I think one difficult place to go to in La Liga is at Deportivo Alaves, because they play with high intensity. They are a very, very physical side, and they do love to pin you in your own area. And Madrid, after being sent off to 10 men, down to 10 men, Vasquez had to do something to win all 3 points.
Let's look at the EPL, Augustine. We've got our very own Manchester United, who will be hosted by West Ham United. A Manchester United team that can give you results, or negative or positive results, Augustine, but West Ham hosting Man United.
I think this is going to be an interesting encounter, because one of our boys is doing very well ever since he moved from Ajax. That's Muhammad Kudus. He scored a lot of vital goals for this West Ham team, but it's the inconsistency by West Ham that has been very, very evident this season. I think they've lost Alvarez through injuries a couple of weeks. It has proved that they cannot play without Alvarez in central midfield, because he shoots that defense very well. He works very hard alongside Thomas Suchek, but they're coming up against a Manchester United side that you do not know what to expect. And it's always tricky at the London Stadium, I think, with Gerard Bowen, Muhammad Kudus, Mikel Antonio. If they are on their form, they can cause any team problems. You remember Lucas Paqueta, they played against Chelsea a couple of weeks ago. They were reduced to 10 men, but they managed to beat Chelsea by 3-1. Manchester United went to Anfield, frustrated Liverpool, got a very, very important draw coming into this encounter. And what they need to show United is character going into places like the London Stadium. It's not going to be easy. I think they need to try and find their second gear in the season, because Manchester United throughout the season they've been playing in gear 1, and you could see that they were boosted by the return of Luke Shaw. He brings the calmness into the team. You could see that he creates the perfect angles to build up from the back. Even Andre Onana now looks comfortable when they're building back. I think it was probably Onana's best game as Manchester United goalkeeper at Anfield. His distribution was very, very good. He was commanding his area. And now you see that Erik ten Hag, his man management skills have got a big, big problem. He fell out with Cristiano Ronaldo. He fell out with Jadon Sancho. He fell out with Rafael Varane. He said Varane cannot play on the left side of defense, but needs must. They went to Anfield, they didn't have the left-sided centre-back, and Varane was Manchester United's best player on the park. So you could see that there are a lot of things that Erik ten Hag will need to change about his personality. He just needs to swallow his pride, work with the players. His man management skills will need to be better. Play your best players in the team, and then you'll see results. I do hope Rasmus Højlund will start scoring goals in the Premier League, but because he works very, very hard. But you could see that this Manchester United team have got no direction. They do not have a philosophy and playing style. The striker once crosses into the box, Anthony is dribbling on the other side.
It's crazy. Yeah? Anyway, let's look at another game, Augustine. We've got Fulham hosting Burnley. That's at 17 hours. We've got Luton hosting Newcastle. Forest Rangers hosting Bournemouth, Tottenham hosting Everton. And one of the big games for today, Augustine, due to time, Liverpool hosting Arsenal. A lot of people would say at the league decider.
Yeah, I think before we go to that, I think at Kenilworth Road, Luton hosting Newcastle, I think it will be an emotional game. The fact that their captain Lockyer collapsed when they were playing Bournemouth the previous weekend, the game was cancelled, but you could see that Newcastle know that it's going to be tough at the Kenilworth Road, because this is the first time now that they're playing after the news that their captain had collapsed on the field of play when they were playing Bournemouth at the Vitality. It's going to be a cagey game. Newcastle have been pretty much disappointing. They were kicked out of the Carabao. They were kicked out of the Champions League. And now what they have left is the FA Cup and the league. They need to start picking up points, and it has to start today. Anfield, Liverpool against Arsenal. It's always a big tie when these two teams meet. We've been excited with goals. It's never a boring game when Arsenal meet Liverpool. You are assured of goals. But if you look at the two setups, the way they've been playing, I think Arsenal, they're playing a different brand of football from what they did last season. They were too open, but you could see that the coming in of Declan Rice has solidified their midfield. They know when to attack teams and when to drop off. I think they're finding the right balance. They're sharing the goals. Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, and Martin Odegaard. I think Arsenal going to Anfield is always difficult for them, because Liverpool have got a lot of potential and firepower. Mohamed Salah will always be a threat for them. Diego Jota, I think, will be a big miss for Liverpool. It gives them something different, but Luis Diaz is always there to try and provide that constant threat. But I do think it will end in a draw.
Make Isaac smile for once, Augustine. Tomorrow Wolves will be hosting Chelsea at 15 hours.
Chelsea going at the Molineux, it's going to be difficult for the Blues, but there were a lot of positives from the game they played against Newcastle. I felt they were the better side in the game against Newcastle. They controlled the game very well, and like he was saying about Bruno Fernandes, I felt they did better without Enzo Fernandez when he was withdrawn. I think it gave Conor Gallagher a lot of license, and it brings now the young Cole Palmer, the creative Cole Palmer, to play as a 10.
And he moved very well.
I think it was very different when those changes were made by this Chelsea. And I do not think Mauricio Pochettino will be rushing anytime soon to bring back Reece James on the right side of defense, because Reece James is one of Chelsea's weak link, to be honest. You look at Disasi. When Disasi was playing at right back, they were very comfortable in that area. They defended very well. I think there are a lot of positives they can pick from the game against Newcastle. Even Mykhailo Mudryk came from the bench and equalized for them. And you could see flashes of Christopher Nkunku. He looked sharp. He could get on the ball. And Nicholas Jackson misses a lot of chances. Now Nkunku is back. He'll give him pressure. Immediately, Nicholas Jackson misses chances. Nkunku would get that position and he will be leading the Chelsea attack.
Your final closing remarks, Augustine.
A big thanks to the entire production team for making this show possible, and a big thanks to our viewers out there for tuning in. We always appreciate your support and your effort. I would like to urge each and every one of you to trek to the nearest stadium and support Bola Yapazet, because local is like. See you next week.
Anyway, this is where we've come to the end of the show, and like Augustine has said, a big thanks to all our viewers. We are nothing without you, and not forgetting the whole entire production team, Isaac upstairs, and mostly not forgetting Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilwa for always giving us this platform to share or give you nothing but the best in terms of sports. Let's trek to the nearest stadium and support our teams, and make sure, be mindful this festive season. We want to see you again next week Saturday, because a lot of people want to maneuver around. But anyway, this has been Amos aka Amore, and it's bye bye. See you next week. Stay glued for amazing Katamanda is coming on your screens with the weekly gospel.